details later on. So starting with the object. So if you see on the right-hand side, I have the core S4 features and some new features which have been introduced by SAP. So in the case of SAP CRM org model, you will see that the org model in S4 is still there, the way it had in CRM. But there's a new one which has been added called Enterprise Organization Model. It is being enhanced slowly. It is, I don't think still it's as robust as the org model, but it's much simpler to use. It's more like the SD or sales organization structure. I think SAP is heading towards that and getting rid of the CRM org model. Then the business partners, which CRM had, like sold to, ship to, contact, or any of the business partners which you may have created. S4 also has the business partners. It used to have customer and vendors. They still populate the customer and vendor table, but the replication would be using the BP model. In case of service products, in CRM, they are going away and they're being replaced by the standard MM03 material master, which SAP S4 has, and there's a specific material type called SERV. So all the service products are under there, and all the functionality which the service product had, special functionality like renewals and SLAs and etc. are part of material type serve. Product bundles remain the same. Install base is no longer there. SAP ECC and S4 always had equipment and functional location, and that remains with our serialized products. IPC, which was there in a CRM, is going away. It is being replaced with SD pricing. There is some configuration to be done for SD pricing to work in this, but it's pretty much, you can do pretty much anything what you could do in SD pricing as well. That was about the master data. Service team also remains the same. If you're using it, you can continue using it. In terms of other objects, interaction center, ERMS, categorization, survey, actions, all of them remain as is. Nothing has changed, and there are not major benefits. I mean, they are pretty much the same, so there is no additional enhancements or features which are out there. Payment cards has changed, so the way SAP CRM payment card works, you can use the digital payment add-on, which SAP has provided for S4. It will work for service transactions as well, and you can connect it to any credit card company like Stripe or Paymetric or etc. And then variant configuration, the advanced variant configuration has been introduced. It's much more robust, nicer user interface. There's some additional functionalities which are there in advanced variants configuration, which you can leverage in S4. So that was about the key objects on master data and interaction center. Going to the details of each and every transaction. So repairs have got a lot of changes. So they have, SAP pretty much has revamped the repair process. There's a new object called in-house repair, and the repair order obviously stays, but the end-to-end process has changed drastically. I would say there's probably more of a greenfield than a brownfield because of the change in process. Returns, complaints was used for RMS and returns as well. Now that you can leverage the standard SD return. If you have a simplistic model, then I would go with a regular SD returns order. But if you are using a CRM complaint, which means you probably have a complex returns process like advanced shipment, replacements and repairs and credits and whatever. That has been mapped to advanced return management, which existed in ECC as well, but it has been enhanced in S4, and it is now integrated with the repair order. I'm going to talk about it later on. It has been integrated with the repair order, so you can, it can work for repairs as well as all the other scenarios of returns like exchanges and advanced returns and credit, etc. Service plan is going away. SAP has decided to use the preventive maintenance plan of SAP PM. So that pretty much remains as a core S4 feature. RPA, which is for resource planning and scheduling, That has been taken away. You can use the SAP FSM tool for using scheduling, and you can schedule not just internal folks. SAP FSM also has crowd service, which means you can send it out to the non-employees and have them also participate in the service process. For the PM orders, which is not in the scope of this, SAP has built a resource scheduling tool separately. It's a separate license, but I just wanted to mention that there is another tool out there which you can use. MRS, which was a tool for resource scheduling for PM orders, is probably going to get replaced with this new SAP tool which SAP has brought. Now, revenue recognition for contracts, say service contracts or even service order, is being replaced with SAP RAR. So all the functionality for revenue recognition either used to be in SD revenue recognition, or for service it used to be in internal order based revenue recognition. That's part of RAR. You can still use internal order revenue recognition, but you can't use SD revenue recognition. You have to use SAP RAR. SAP RAR is a recommended method to go forward. It's an embedded S4. And if you are migrating from ECC to S4, it is a must-have to go with RAR, because the SD RevRec is not supported at all in S4. Warranty claims process, which is there in SAP CRM, is again, the standard one is gone away. There is a new one which SAP has developed. There are two new Fiori applications that SAP has developed for doing a vendor warranty claim, or you can do a vendor warranty claim on behalf of the customer as well. Then CRM billing is totally gone away. You will have to use S4 billing. There is something called a billing document request, which SAP has introduced. It's more like a pro forma invoice, and that's what you can use for S4 billing. In terms of other objects like complaints, as I said, it's been replaced with service requests. So the complaint object is totally gone. The case is still there. Most companies don't use it. It's mostly used by government, public sector companies, or even large companies where they have you have to do a lot of case tracking and hierarchy of cases, etc. Service contract in S4 has a little more better functionality, especially around the change processes of renewals or changing the sole to party or extending a contract or creating a new contract based on the expiry of a contract, etc. That's a new feature which has been introduced. For service order, the process for the core service order is pretty similar, not much of a difference. But SAP has introduced an advanced service order process by which you can use a service order as a shell and then use the PM order, plant maintenance order, to do the execution. And billing is done through, if you guys know, DIP is called dynamic item processor, which is resource-related billing, similar to the confirmation. Again, I think those are meant for very large industries like airline or railways, etc., where they have a lot of they may be using PM orders and they don't want to move away to service. So that's why probably it's been introduced. The regular service order should work for most of the customers implementations. There's no change in the service quote and confirmation. It's pretty much the same as it was. So that's the object mapping. Now I'm going to get on to the customer service field service process with S4 only. So as you guys probably may know, or you might have heard as well, that SAP CRM was brought over into S4. And I'm going to talk about 4 options for customer service and field service. The first option is, you're going to do everything in S4 service. And you were doing SAP CRM, so if you didn't have any third-party system, you could still continue doing it as well. So the existing process of ERMS for emails coming in, or call or chat to the interaction center, or website integration for creating a service request stays as is. And then you can use the service contract for the SLA determination. And then if it is covered by the contract, fine. If it's not covered by the contract, then you can create a service quote. And the service quote uses the pricing, obviously the SD pricing. And then once you send the quote to the customer accepts it, then you can create a service order. In case there is no quoting, you can also use the create the service order directly from the service request, and it can be covered by a contract. The contract process is pretty much similar, except this piece of it, the billing request is called BDR. There's a separate Fiori application for that. And all the billing plan line items here, monthly, quarterly, advanced, late, upfront, whatever the scenario might be, is taken care of the billing document request or billing request. It is like a pro forma invoice, and then you can create an invoice from there. And then it goes to SAP RAR, and the service contract also goes to RAR for revenue deferral and recognition as well. In addition, SAP also has introduced a new thing called item-based accounting. You can either use item-based accounting, or you can stay with the internal order or mass object controlling. The item-based accounting is more like, the service contract number and the line item number is treated as a CO object, and that's where all the costs are getting collected. A different approach. Again, you'll have to choose during design which one you want to go with, or you may want to stay with the existing one the way it is. And then all that is settled to COPA, which is now called margin analysis. So you may be using a costing-based COPA, but then now it's called SAP standard is account-based COPA, and margin analysis and account-based COPA are pretty similar with minor differences. And then if you were using PM, preventive maintenance, for the customers for service contracts, like you want to have recurring service, the PM plan, the maintenance plan which I talked about in the previous slide, is tied to the contract. It automatically generates the PM orders or the service orders on a specific schedule, monthly, quarterly, or based on the rules which you define, based on usage or kilometers driven, etc. And then the process of creating a sales order for sending the parts to the technician, that remains as is. Buying parts or low value parts or services, you can trigger that of the service order. Creating a reservation for sending the part, moving the parts from a storage location, that remains as is, that process integration. You can enhance it like you did in SAP CRM, but that can also be done in S4 also. The thing which has been added is a dispatch to technicians. So you can have dispatch rules. You can use service team and some attributes, geographies, and it is not a full-fledged scheduler. It's just how to dispatch a service order operation to a specific technician who can then accept it. But the confirmation piece of it, which pretty much you can probably use, you probably need a online or an offline mobile app. You can build a BTP mobile application, custom, or you can use an existing one, but that has to be integrated to S4, which you can, some of it can work straight away, but some of it will need changes because there's a lot of use of CDS views and AMDP and other technical terms for integration versus the old method of integration which you might have used. And obviously the technician records all the time, labor, parts, etc., and all the costs which are collected are then sent over to the CO object of the internal order, and then everything goes over to the margin analysis. So that was about S4 service only. Now I'm going to talk about the second option in which you have SAP Service Cloud as well. So SAP had SAP CRM, then they had SAP C4C, and then now they have something SAP C4C version 2, which is also called SAP Service Cloud version 2. So if you have it or you want to go for it, the process is similar, except that the functionality is there is no ERMS. There is an email functionality, which is different than the way ERMS worked. So you can get a customer email, and the email will be received, and it will automatically create a case and send an acknowledgement back to the customer. And you can build rules, etc., for the case processing. If there is any approval rules or routing rules, etc., you can do that. In my opinion, the Service Cloud version 2 has a much nicer user interface. I think it's more non-ABAP based, if you want to call it, and it's probably more robust and nice, easier to use. You also can see that it supports all channels, including SMS and chat. And there's something called an agent desktop, which replaces the interaction center. The agent desktop can be connected to CTI and other stuff as well. But pretty much everything, in fact, even the emails can come to the agent desktop as well, where it's one-stop shop for all the customer interactions. And this website, you can integrate the website also to create a case. And when you create the case, you can make a call to S4 for the service contract to get the entitlement details and what is the coverage there. Then in case of, you can potentially create a case either in Service Cloud, or you can use a mashup to create a case in S4 directly. The recommended approach is you create the case directly in S4, because why do you want to create a case here and replicate it here to S4? It's better to create the service code directly in S4. But you have both the choices. So if you create the code here, you can send the code to the customer, you can accept it or reject it. And if they accept it, then you create the service order. The same thing can be done here as well. You can send the code to customer and then create the service order if it's accepted or not. It's covered by the contract, then there's no issue. You can obviously you don't need a code then. You can directly go from the case to the service order. The pricing, obviously, the quote uses whether it's a Service Cloud quote or a S/4HANA quote. The pricing is used from S4. And then for the service contract process, pretty much remains the same as I described earlier, with the billing request, invoice, RAR, maintenance plan, etc. The key differences are primarily here in the Service Cloud and how it integrates with S4. And then the execution part remains the same as well. Going to option 3, if you chose S4 service and you want to have an execution engine, which means you need to have a mobile application for the technicians, then you can use SAP FSM. Now you can use SAP FSM, or you also can use SAP Service and Asset Manager as well. That's another tool to be using, but Service and Asset Manager does not have a scheduling engine, where the SAP FSM has a scheduling engine as well. So I'm not going to go through the same process. It's pretty similar to what I said earlier. But if you can see here, in the case of FSM, what you have is this: you have a service order and you have a service and a part. Now the service order is replicated as a service call to SAP FSM. FSM. The service operations which are there are sent as an activity, and the parts are also sent over as a reserved part for the service call. This activity can be, the service activity can be scheduled. So the scheduler of SAP FSM is quite robust. It's much more robust than RPA, let me put it that way. It can also do route-based scheduling. It can do it based on availability, skill set required, and for the technician, and what the technician has, and do the mapping, etc. So you can take holidays and vacations and time offs or etc. as well. And if a customer rejects it, doesn't accept the assigned activity, they can reschedule it and give it to some other technician who's nearby in the vicinity. Okay. So once the scheduling for the service activity is done, /service operation, the technician can go on site, and they have a mobile application wherein they can record their travel time, labor time, parts used, if there are any expenses. And there's also something called a checklist, which is actually quite robust. And in fact, SAP has used the SAP FSM checklist and designed it in multiple S4 and even Service Cloud applications. It basically says, okay, if you have to do an inspection, I have to do steps A, B, C, D for the inspection. And you can put that in the checklist, and you can check them off and say, okay, this has been done. Or even take a picture for each step and put it in there as well. It can be, and you can make it rule-based as well, that okay, if it is this equipment, checklist A should appear. If it is this type of equipment, checklist B should appear, etc., etc. So checklist functionality can definitely be leveraged extensively, and it does take time to build the checklist, and especially if you're building complex checklist as well. Once the mobile app is, the technician got the customer signature, entered information for the checklist and parts, time, labor, it comes back to SAP FSM, which creates something. It creates something called a TNM journal, and then it integrates with SAP S4 for the service confirmation, wherein you can do the goods movement, the labor, track the labor expenses, etc. And you can do an attachment as well for customer signature and checklist and that stuff. And all the information then flows from the service confirmation to the CO object, which is or the internal order, and the process remains the same. So that's option 3 for SAP FSM. Option 4 is we have all 3 of them. You have SAP S4 service, you have Service Cloud, and you have SAP FSM as well. So again, as SAP Service Cloud has got all the features which I just described earlier. Then you have the contract part of it, which is in S4. Then you have the service order part of it. And of course, all the logistics transactions like sales order, purchase order, reservations will remain in S4. And then you have the FSM piece as well integrated. So if you are a full SAP shop and you want to get all 3 of them, you can integrate all of them as well. Again, as I said, mashups are recommended wherever possible instead of trying to replicate. But you can obviously use middleware or CPI or BTP integration to integrate also. So that's about the options for S4 service, Service Cloud and FSM for the field service, the customer service, and the interaction center part of it. You can obviously tweak it, change the processes based on your respective business process or requirements. But this is just a high level process flows. Okay, now I'm going to talk about complaints and repairs. Some customers don't have field service or have field service and repairs, wherein you send the part back. Customer sends the part back either under a contract or under warranty, or they just want a replacement. They want an exchange and send them a part in advance or after they receive it, and then you basically repair that part and put it back into stock. So that scenario, you can again use the similar process as what you had in SAP CRM. The only thing which is going to get different is the service request. Again, it's an optional thing. You don't have to have a service request, but if you want to track more details besides just the part return, service request is a good thing to have. But from the service request, you can create an advanced return order or a regular return order as well. And there is something called a new repair object, which has been introduced by SAP. It's really an equipment, but it has some actions by which you can either from the advanced return order, create a trigger, link it to the repair object, or from the repair object, you can directly create an advanced return order or a return order as well. From the advanced return order, there are some actions by which you can trigger the in-house repair process. And this is the new functionality which I was talking about. The in-house repair process gets triggered. It has some pre-checks, and those pre-checks include, okay, I want to create a service quote, or I want to get the part back, or I want to do both, or I don't want to do the quote, I want to create the repair order directly. So those are some of the options. There's probably some more, and you can configure some of your own as well as needed. And once the repair order is created or the service quote is created, service quote goes to the customer, let's say they accept it, you create the repair order. In the case of warranty and contract, obviously don't need the service quote, but the system can determine the contract and warranty for the repair order. That's the next thing. Another thing which is different is Once the technician performs the repair, and you can do one repair order can have multiple equipments, or you can create one repair order for each separate equipment. All that scenarios are possible. You can track the labor and time. And if it is a billable repair, you can create the billing request, the BDR, which I talked about earlier, service contract and repairs and service order. All of them use the BDR process. And you can do a fixed rate repair based on the repair order pricing, $100 an hour, $100 an hour, or $100 total, whatever. You can get the billing request to bill from that, or you can do actuals based on the repair confirmation. And then there is finally a process for disposition. What do you do? So in the case of repair in which the customer wants the product back, you do an outbound delivery and send it back to the customer. In case they wanted an advance exchange or a replacement, you can repair the product and put it back into stock, or you can scrap it as well. So all the options are there. But it's a little more streamlined, in my opinion, compared to the diagnosis and the other actions which were there, sequential and hierarchical stuff. This is more streamlined, in my opinion. And it is tied to the advanced return order process as well. So you could use the order reason for advanced returns, and then it basically triggers this process from here itself. Now, in case of advanced returns, wherein there is no repairs involved, you want the part to be replaced, or you want to give them a credit memo, you create the returns delivery, and then there is something called a refund code, and you can either give them a credit or you can do a replacement. So advanced return orders functions more like a cockpit, and you can also do, once you receive the product, you can do an inspection and do follow-up activities. So basically, you can send it for repair. You can send it to the vendor for repair. You can send it to the vendor totally to get a replacement part. You can send it back to the customer. You can scrap it. You can send it to other warehouse, another storage location, put it in block stock, scrap it. So all the follow-up activities for that returns process can be implemented. Again, I think it's a little more streamlined and a little more better process compared to the SAP CRM process. So based on what you can see the process flow, it's quite different than what SAP CRM repair and complaint process was. So this potentially could lead into a greenfield implementation. If you try to use, if you're not using advanced returns, ARM, it's called ARM as well, then you may have to implement ARM, and then the repair process also has to be re-implemented. So the same process also can be done with the S4 Service Cloud as well. So you can, like creating a case. Case can also be tied to a registered object. So you can replicate the equipment from S4 to Service Cloud and get a registered object. You can also have function location, equipment, all that stuff also is possible in Service Cloud also. I just showed a registered object in this case. But the process could be that from the case, you can use a mashup to create the advanced return order or the regular return order, or you can create the return order in Service Cloud and replicate that to an advanced return order or a regular return order in SAP S4. Again, this is an optional step, not mandatory. This also is an optional step if you don't want to use the case. But if you're going to use a Service Cloud, it might make sense to use the case as well. So rest all processes are pretty similar to what I just described. There is not much going changes there.